who's your sleeper pick in the draft? Well, who's your sleeper pick, Mark Orm from Orm's Farm? And I'll give him mine after we do Antonio Hightower.
My sleeper pick, like what, like a third round guy or something like that?
Third round, yeah, say a third round guy.
Oh, I don't know, man. There's a couple wide receivers that I like. There's maybe if a Rashod Bateman can maybe slip into the third, I think he'll probably go second. But if he can slip to the third, I like a Rashod Bateman as a sleeper wide receiver. I do like him, and we do need help, guys, at the wide receiver spot. So that's a guy that I like a lot, man, out of Minnesota.
I'm going to give you a guy. I've done a couple mock drafts, 2 mock drafts, and he's been in my mock draft twice. Javon Holland, safety out of Oregon. I really like Javon Holland. I think we got 2 third-round draft picks. I think we can snatch him in the 3rd round. You throw him with Tracy Walker. I think that would be a good 1-2 combination. What about you there, Antonio Hightower? And then we'll go to Dern.
My sleeper would probably be Rondale Moore. And the only real thing about Rondale Moore is he just got injury problems. Is pretty much what it is. Because when he plays, he has first-round talent. But he might just fall to the second. He's probably going to fall to the second, maybe even the third, just because of injury issues. So that's probably my sleeper pick.
That's a nice pick.
Good one. That is a good one, Rondale Moore. Dern, what about you?
Amon-Ra St. Brown. You guys know how much I like this guy. 6'1", 195, USC number 8. Man, everyone's disrespecting this guy. You can put him inside from the slot, outside. You can run the ball with him. He'll do whatever you want. He has pretty good hands, pretty good speed. I don't understand why he's getting so much flack. He doesn't have that big of injury history either. He's producing with a terrible quarterback.
And, hey, I like him as well. I have a mock draft coming out, and I think you're going to like that mock draft when it comes to the wide receiver position. B. Taylor says, do you feel Nico Collins can be this year's Chase Claypool after body measurements and 40 speed time, Antonio Hightower?
Maybe. Wide receiver is just such a weird position. I think I can see it. He has all the athletic tools to do it. I think it depends what team you go to because like Claypool went to the Steelers. The Steelers are known; they're pretty good at developing wide receivers. So while I think he has the athletic tools to do it, I really think it depends where he goes. But he definitely has the talent to do it.
What helped the D to improve most? What would help the D to improve most? Well, you know how much I love the defensive line. And I believe that you build through the defensive line. You start with the interior, you build outward, in my opinion. If we could get a interior defensive lineman and or a beast of a defensive end, I think that's how you would start. I know we need a lot of help with the linebacking core, but it really does start up front, Mark.
Oh, 100%, man. It starts with the D-line. I'm a linebacker guy myself, but you're right, Mike. Interior D lineman. If you can get a couple studs in there that can just stop the run sometimes, man. Like we just need some stops, man. I swear to God, like we would watch the Detroit Lions guys, and the defense would come on. I couldn't even watch it. I couldn't watch these guys because I knew the teams are going to score on us, man. If we just get a good defensive tackle, get a good D end, get a solid linebacker. You know what I mean? You need 2 or 3 really good guys up front, man, and then. Sky's the limit. So that's what we need to do. Just make some stops, make some plays, please.
I really hate seeing teams run on us. 5 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards, 20 yards. It drives me crazy because if you cannot stop the run, how can you win a football game? And you got to be able to stop that run, and you got to have a defensive tackle in there that can do it. Antonio Hightower, how would you start to build this defense?
I mean, I would start to build it around the linebacker core because even though I think the defensive line needs help, we saw, especially starting later in the season, that Tennessee and I forget his name, the nose tackle that we picked up in free agency.
Danny Shelton?
Yeah, Danny Shelton. Danny Shelton was starting to pick it up before he got injured. They was really starting to dominate against the run because they literally had to dominate against the run because the linebackers couldn't make a tackle. Like they literally they had to take it into their own hands. They just say we're gonna have to be so dominant up front because our linebackers cannot make a tackle other than Jamie Collins. Like they would just run past all the linebackers. It was just so horrible. I would start with the linebackers. I wouldn't take, Parsons at 7, but I start with the linebacker core.
I have no problem starting with that linebacking core because it's so pathetic. I've never seen this.
Yeah.
I've been watching Lions football for 29 years. I've never seen so much pathetic linebacking core in my life than last season. I was doing play-by-play, and I was telling you, the middle's open. Attack, attack.
Yeah.
Do you think Terrell Crosby can be the future starter for this offensive line? Hey, 5th-round pick out of Oregon. I like my Oregons because I'm an Oregon Duck fan. Look, I think he's okay, right? But I would like to have a dominant offensive line.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to be a dominant right tackle. I think he could be an okay right tackle. A Rick Wagner. Well, what say you, Mark Orem from Orem's Forum?
Yeah, he's kind of had his opportunity this year, obviously, with some injuries to Big V, and he was pretty inconsistent. He played well a couple games, though. I still think he needs some more seasoning, maybe a few more starts under his belt. He was a guy that actually fell in the draft. It was actually a good pick by Bob Quinn, believe it or not. It's a guy that slipped to the 5th round. He was probably graded at a maybe a late 2nd, early 3rd, but he had some injuries at Oregon, if I can remember correctly. And it was actually not a bad pick by Bob Quinn for a guy that could be possibly maybe a future starter at right tackle or even left tackle. But I still think he's a backup for now. He just needs some seasoning.
Yeah, he's a good swing tackle. That's why I do like him, is he can play left or right. If there's an injury, you can count on Terrell Crosby at least to help out a little bit. I'm going to throw this on you. Josh Cornell, last year's rookie that opted out, 313 clause. Yes, he was just like Geronimo Allison, their gridiron blitz. What do you think? Does he have to work a little bit harder this offseason?
I mean, apparently, yeah. And the thing about it is like when we talk about like Geronimo Allison being on the team, I like, how is that even happening? You know what I'm saying? How is that even happening? I think Geronimo actually opted out so he could kind of have a spot for this coming season. The dude was trash from the very beginning. But you know what I want to know? Why do we only have 81 likes? We got to get that to 100 at least in the next 5 minutes. So stop what you're doing. Hit that X, hit the like button, come back in the chat and have a good time. But, man, it's funny that he brought that up, man, because our receiver core is hurting, bro. So I don't know what we're going to do, but we got a long road ahead.
What linebacker in the draft are you wanting the most in what round? Look, I do like Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah, but that would result in a trading back. I'm not going to take him at 7. I think we do need to get a linebacker fairly high in this draft, probably for one of the first 2 rounds. Who's a second rounder that they could take a look at, like a Nick Bolton or something like that? Mark Orem.
I like if he could possibly fall. I like Zaven Collins out of Tulsa.
Yep, he's good too.
I like him. He's a big kid, man. He can do a lot of things on the football field. He's a guy that I like in the 2nd round that could probably slip in the 2nd. I could see the Lions hopefully grabbing a kid like that, man. He's a game changer.
ISN, how about Walker Little, offensive tackle with the 88th pick from Stanford? I swear, everybody, you guys are going to laugh when you see my mock draft. I swear to God. I swear it. Antonio Hightower, what do you think about Little, offensive tackle, 88 from Stanford?
He's okay. I wouldn't consider him one of the top 10 offensive tackles in this draft class. But, he'd be okay. He was supposed to be a first round. A few years ago, people was talking about him as like a first round pick. I don't know what happened since then. But, it's okay.
10 more likes and we get to 127 people in the chat. Lucky now, Dylan Moses in round 2. Lucky, I actually been seeing a lot of mock drafts where Dylan Moses is now falling to the 3rd round because there's a lot of people concerned about his injury history.
He's just not the same guy, man.
They are worried, and I think he could fall to the 3rd round now.
I wouldn't be surprised if he fell to the 4th, to be honest.
That would be insane. If he fell to the 4th, you'd have.
He's literally gotten injured the past 3 years. Like, he was injured last year. He was out for the season the year before that, and he just don't even look the same. He kind of looks scared. He's just avoiding contact. He just don't look the same anymore.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that got so much talent, but he just can't stay on the field. He's one of those guys.
That's scary, man.
Because he's good. He is good. It's just, man, if he falls to the 4th, whew.
Brandon, ISN, we should franchise tag Kenny Golladay and trade him. I'm with you, man. If we can't get him to a long-term deal, franchise tag him. Let's get a draft pick out of him. I'm all about draft picks. If you look what the Minnesota Vikings did, they traded Diggs. Everybody said, "Oh no, what did they do to get Justin Jefferson?" And I think he worked out pretty well for the Minnesota Vikings. I think if that is the route that they cannot get him to a long-term deal, I would try to get him to a long-term deal and a good contract. I'm not going to overpay or anything. If that doesn't work out, if it breaks down, let's get a draft pick. Because you're going to get a conditional third-round draft pick if you just let him sign with the Green Bay Packers or whoever he goes to. Because
not the Green Bay
Packers. They want.
Not the Green Bay Packers. Devontae Adams, man, Kenny Golladay. Come on, man.
Apparently
we're trying to beat them guys. We can't do that.
What's your guys' thoughts on Jabril Cox in the second or third round? I know Travis Troxel loves Jabril Cox.
He does.
He really, really likes him. I'm not upset with that. I'm not. Cincinnati Bengals are going to shock everyone by taking Kyle Pitts and measuring a 40 watch. I would not be shocked with that. Kyle Pitts is exploding onto the scene. He's the tight end, but they consider him basically a wide receiver. I could see that happening. Definitely could.
And that's why they're the Bengals.
I was going to say, man, you Joe Burrow got his knee back to the future. You know what I'm saying? You got to take somebody to protect him.
I'm going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. If
I wouldn't be surprised
the offensive line wasn't like the worst offensive line in the league.
See what they do in free agency.
Yes, that we got to get there first.
Free agency is so important. Then we can kind of get an idea of what's taking place here. Trevor,